Meantime, tonight, the chief of the Secret Service Uniform Division Police is confirming tonight that the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office has arrested an off-duty Secret Service officer. John Andrew Spillman is accused of indecent exposure. He was an employee of the U.S. Secret Service at the time of his arrest, based in Washington, D.C., and was immediately placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the criminal case and internal review. Spillman was in the Miami district as part of a detail that provided exterior security screening for an event. His assignment had concluded the day prior to his arrest.
That's crystal meth. If you look at his red nose, the jerking off in public is a typical crystal meth addict maneuver. They just can't control their sexuality, and they masturbate in public in stairwells. And here on the street, he went into a stairwell. But if you look at the nose and that look and what he was doing, that adds up to no drug testing at the Secret Service, or drug testing that is not so random or spread out over a long period of time.
Okay, well, I was going to say that is quite the look and quite the expression.
Yeah, no, I've seen that look a million times. That's the look of a meth addict or a guy who is coming down from meth after being apprehended jerking off in a stairwell.
Unbelievable. Well,
yeah, no, I mean, random people don't just jerk off in stairwells.
I hope
it never happens. It is a typical thing for a meth addict because their sexuality is so hyped up that they can't control themselves and will do it anywhere.
Well, it is definitely freaky. Is that Jeffrey Toobin's excuse, or
no? That's a completely separate thing. This particular thing indicates to me that there is no drug testing within the uniformed Secret Service, or both. Or that the drug testing is so non-random as to not be concerned to an employee. Again, another default on this incredible, revered piece of shit agency.
Well, I thought that that story was perfectly on point with what we've been discussing.
Well, I mean, if you get back to the original story, which we left off on Friday, this Jeanine Pirro's got to go. She's a buffoon. She should go back to television. She doesn't even know what she's doing over there. She put in like 5 or 6 different grand jury indictments of people who had threatened the president, and all 5 were rejected by the grand jury and the others thrown out by judges. Whoever told her that a prosecutor could get a ham sandwich indicted didn't go into details to Jeanine Pirro on how to do it. The idea and her quote that this bullet was found in the Secret Service agent's something or other when it was a
threading.
Yeah, what was that? Yeah, threading of his jacket or sweater or bulletproof vest. Again, making a schmuck out of herself. She's too old. She has to go back to Westchester or to Fox or have a Judge Judy show. She's a buffoon. I'm sorry she aged out. This is a serious game we're playing, and she's failing every single time. Calling this a bullet when it was a mere pellet from a buckshot, and our rural viewers will tell us that buckshot within a buckshot shell could be 8 to 10, 12, depending on the gauge of the buckshot. They could tell us on their own. The reason he had buckshot, according to him, was to minimize the spread and the damage that it would inflict. That's not true. The fact of the matter is, you can't get slugs in California if you were the chief of police of LA. I exaggerate. The only ones who do have it are the police force. And they have to request it on special occasions to use slugs because of the damage that slugs cause. So getting back to him and this random blast of buckshot that we're supposed to believe happened from 36 inches away, and it's not a bullet in his bulletproof vest. It is a buckshot pellet that she seems not to know the difference between a bullet and a pellet from a buckshot, which is grounds enough for me to get her ass out of there.
Well, it's interesting, too. I mean, it seems to be a stretch that only one pellet of buckshot would be in there, especially when you're talking about a close range, because buckshot's got to spread over time, and this is like
I mean, this is what buckshot is for, is that 36-inch to 4-foot, 5-foot range, which is what he was within. Now, if he missed him with that one shot and one pellet went into his bulletproof vest, that is still not a bullet. And where's the rest of the buckshot? You know how loud that would have been in that right there in that little alcove? Deafening. And this guy, of course, shoots across, and there's the unarmed TSA agents over there who dive for cover, rightfully so. They're not packing or anything. And then he runs past. Now, the buckshot shotgun thing, I think, served its purpose for him because he's armed with a 9mm handgun in there, which I think he intended to pull out after the buckshot was expended. You know how difficult it is to kill somebody with buckshot, Eric? I mean, at literally 10 yards, it begins to become unpenetrable. Well, it depends. I mean, if they have a vest on, it's difficult, but it can be, but even that, you got to be super close range. And I'll just say somebody's name. Maybe that'll indicate my explanation. Dick Cheney. Oh, okay. Got his lawyer in the face with a full load of buckshot, and it didn't kill the lawyer nor cause him to be arrested, which was a separate issue, but literally discharged a round of buckshot into his own lawyer's face. True, and thankfully he was probably too drunk to be very active. That's a separate issue for another day, but I'm just trying to explain buckshot in general, how this guy with her bizarre description of this case right in her own backyard at an event she was at, it just shows you that she's out of touch with what's going on so quickly in our society, Eric. By the way, the chat is wanting to jump in. Of course. Did I mention a gun or a bullet? Right. Well, it's a bird shot, not buckshot. Yeah. For Cheney. So, and I think they were quail hunting, so they probably was bird shot, not buckshot. Oh, stop it. We got to go on with the show. I can't be bothered by these autistic morons. Let's go on. Okay. I want to get back to this judge who has now spoken out about the condition of the holding cell that they've placed the suspect Allen within to save his own life. He has been placed in a safe cell for a number of reasons. One, that he said to the FBI he didn't expect to survive the event, and they put him on a suicide watch inside the safe cell, the so-called Epstein treatment. Now, this, according to the judge, was far worse than even the January 6ers had to endure. Shown here. He has to literally, in open court, the guy has not even been charged yet, and this piece of shit from fucking Pakistan is apologizing to him, the potential assassin of the president of the United States. Go in there and physically remove him. Find some charges to get this mutt out of that courtroom. I'm telling you right now, if you bothered to stop scratching your ass and looked into this guy from Pakistan, you would find something in 5 seconds. Stop being so scared of your own shadow and get aggressive and take down these judges. This has to end. There's plenty of dirt. Every time, Eric, we have looked at one of these judges with even a minor scratch of the surface, we have found unbelievable corruption, unbelievable conflicts of interest, and unbelievable shrugging of shoulders by the Republicans, who can't seem to gather the gonads to take down this bow tie wearing Pakistani. And he's just one of many, Eric. No, I agree. And it was obviously shocking. And it's definitely insult to injury that he compared it to January 6th. And I'm going to make a bet that he didn't have any problems whatsoever with how January 6th people were treated, as we had Jonathan Gross on attesting to. How coincidental. Oh, yeah. Also, I don't know if this is true or not, but so apparently somebody got moved and they're complaining and saying, hey, I got moved because I had a window, because they want to give this guy, a nice window cell. This is getting more and more bizarre every single week. This same judge has thrown out previous cases against online attackers of Trump, cases that were brought to his court. He has thrown out charges against people who have threatened to kill the president. And now we have a person who physically tried to kill the president. And the only thing this bald-headed piece of shit with a bow tie could talk about is the living conditions of this guy who's literally been in there for a matter of fucking hours. He made it seem like this guy was serving life in Sing Sing and had complaints.
I agree.
This is a well-connected African-American family. Many of them live in D.C. with deep fucking Democratic Party roots. And this guy, I guarantee you, is part of that machine.
He could be, but this guy very potentially, even if it was somebody straight out of a trailer park, he probably hates Trump so much that he's like, hey, can't we give him better meals? Hey, you know what? Maybe we could serve lobster in the prison now.
I don't know, but I mean, to bring up January 6th in regards to this thing as if the January, what I was saying earlier today is we need a Truth and Reconciliation Commission on January 6th. We cannot just pardon them for doing fucking nothing. Pardoning them does not resolve the crimes on the part of Democrats and police, certain members of the police, certain members of the FBI, certain members of military intelligence, and certain members like Captain Byrd, who's now running the library, from what I understand, at the Metropolitan Police Station, who assassinated an Air Force veteran by shooting her in the head during a protest. There has got to be congressional hearings under oath with these people with consequences. They have let this thing float out there into outer space where judges are now citing it as being more egregious than what's happening with an assassination. That because the Republican Party and this administration allowed this thing not to have, these people did not get justice. Pardoning is not justice, Eric, as you're well aware. Pardoning means you did something wrong and we're pardoning you. These people need to be compensated like the Japanese Americans who were interned by the liberal president FDR. They need to be not only pardoned as if they were, and they need justice to show that they were wronged by the Democratic Party.
Sadly, I'll be waiting for that.
Well, we have to demand it. You got to open your mouth.
Fair enough.
Let's go.
All right.
It's enough already. They're going to weaponize this thing until Republicans drive a fucking spear through their hearts.
All right. On a lighter note, as far as people stepping up, it's become a meme now that Marco Rubio has every job out there. Well, he just started a new job today, which is he is also the press secretary because
that's good. I like
that. Is on maternity leave, so it is kind of funny, but thought it was interesting. He took a couple questions here.
All right, can I? There's no way I can figure out who to call on. I'm just gonna press right in the middle, right there. You right there, yeah, right in the back row.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'll go to you next. I can't get everybody. You know that. All right, go ahead.
You say Mr. President.
Keep going right. Welcome to the White House.
What's that?
Talking to me, sir?
Yeah, to you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I have two questions on two separate issues that come
Do they
under...
get two questions for these?
Two questions.
There's a lot of people in here.
That fall under your umbrella.
All right, well, you answer. You can ask me two questions. I'll give you one answer.
Thank you very much.
And I'll pick the one I like better.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The first has to do with the blockade. There are lawmakers from both parties who claim the blockade is an act of war. What do you say to that? And my second question has to do with the fuel embargo of Cuba. How long, Mr. Secretary, will that last?
Okay, two things. All right, good. I'll answer both your questions because I like the second one too. The first one on the blockade. And so why do we have a blockade? We have a blockade because they shut down the straits. So I don't know which members of Congress you're talking to, but here's what I would ask them. I would ask everybody here. It's very simple. These guys have shut down the Straits of Hormuz. This is what Iran is saying. We will shut down the straits. No one can go through. No country in the world can go through unless we allow you to go through, and you have to pay us. But our ships can go through, meaning the Iranian ships, as much as they want. That's crazy. Who would agree to that? So how are we going to have a situation where they get to close the straits to everybody, and the only people who are allowed to go through there 100% without paying anything are the Iranians? If you do that, they'll keep the straits closed forever.
Yeah.
They're trying to make this some new normal. Okay, under no circumstances can we ever allow them to normalize the fact that they get to blow up commercial ships and put mines in the water. So the response to that is we're going to blockade your ships. If everyone's ships are not getting out, your ships are not getting out either. That's not an act of war. That's a defensive measure. It's a counter to what they have decided to do. You know what is an act of war? Putting mines in the water.
Yeah.
Why don't the members of Congress, whoever it is complaining
They couldn't
about
care
it,
less
should be
about
all over
that.
These guys put mines in the water. That alone, mining in the water is illegal, period, under any circumstances. And they've done it. This is crazy stuff, but this is what they've done. On Cuba, oil blockade on Cuba. There's no oil blockade on Cuba per se. Here's what's happening with Cuba, okay? Cuba used to get free oil from Venezuela. Used to give them a bunch of free oil. They would take like 60% of that oil and resell it for cash. It wouldn't even go to benefit the people. So the only blockade that's happened is the Cubans have decided, the Venezuelans have decided we're not giving you free oil anymore.
That's right.
And you can only imagine nowadays, the way oil prices are, no one's giving away free oil, much less to a failed regime. So the problem with Cuba is worse. Okay.
Wow, that's a great dude. He looks totally presidential. I don't care what anybody says. This guy could walk into a hurricane and act like it's normal. You know, he has no fear about anything. He doesn't fear the commies in Cuba, his arch nemesis. It's going to be the greatest day of his life when he walks into Havana with a group of anti-Castro Cubans from Miami that are going to come there on cruise ships on vacation and celebrate the end of this barbaric regime 90 miles off the coast of Florida, a regime that I've said many times in this show only existed because of the failed democratic policies of the Kennedy administration.
100%. I mean, he's easily the
most
face qualified,
and he's
person.
The face of it.
Yeah,
his whole life, Eric. I mean, he is the face of the anti-Castro Cubans in Miami.
Yeah, that's his legacy, and
that's his legacy.
And to be fair, JD Vance is, I believe, in Iowa right now, and Marco Rubio is stepping up. Trump is, putting him up to speak, and of course, everybody's speculating again because his star is ascending.
Right. He also ascended the political currency of one Ron DeSantis this week, saying he would be a good fit in his cabinet. You're going to have what Trump wants, which is an open primary fight for 2028. It's going to be DeSantis, it's going to be Rubio, and it's going to be JD Vance, and rightfully so. And on the far fringe, crazy MAGA right, in the Buchanan can't possibly win, but you can make loud statements lane, will be Tucker Carlson.
Maybe.
I'm saying yes. You're saying maybe.
I'm saying maybe because I think
I
think he's done some severe damage to himself. That New York Times interview was ugly.
I agree with you, but that's in your mind, Eric.
No, the reason why I'm saying that is this. This is the first time I've seen this week. Greta Van Susteren and some other guy came out, and people are coming out now suddenly saying, I don't know what's going on, but I've known Tucker for 30 years, and really, he's a good man. And I'm like, when you're doing character references, you are in bad shape. This is like somebody who's convicted of a crime, and all the family members are saying, hey, really? Johnny was very good growing up, and he was always a good boy. We love Johnny. So that is my theory about what's going on with Tucker. These people are coming out of the woodwork, suddenly doing a character reference for him. No, he got hurt pretty badly, I think.
I will agree to disagree. And you and I are operating in the real universe. He's not living in that universe any longer. So the damage to him is zero. His amount of followers keeps going higher and higher and higher, despite what people are saying. 21 million people agree with Tucker Carlson. He's got 13.3 million on Twitter. He's got roughly 2 million on YouTube, 3.9 million on Instagram. These numbers are enormous. Nobody's got these kind of numbers.
I think Elon Musk has 300 million.
No, he's the owner. I mean, but
Well,
look what's happening to the collapse of the Daily Wire that Patrick Bet-David was analyzing this week on his show. The complete collapse from 179 million followers down to like 16 million. That's a collapse. That's a collapse. This guy has not had that happen. Nobody's going to, and I am defending Tucker Carlson, but I'm not. Nobody's going to take a New York Times interview seriously in Tucker's universe, bro.
Well, that might be, but he will be running for president. So
he will be, or he won't be.
Well, you said.
I said no. I think he will be. I think.
Oh, okay. So
I'm not predicting anything, but the Buchanan lane. But this is where this ship is headed.
All right. Well, I'm sure then it'll work out the last Buchanan lane, which I don't even remember if he won a primary. Did Buchanan win a single primary?
Yeah, I want to say yes, but I have to ask the chat on that. I want to say that he won somewhere for some odd reason.
I think Santora did, but
New Hampshire or Maine or something.
I think Santorum won Iowa. I don't know if Buchanan won. So they roll together in my mind because Santorum was another also.
Boy, did you? Speaking of primaries, did you see Tim Pool's analysis of the Supreme Court decision of gerrymandering? Yesterday, he did a complete breakdown, calling and predicting a decades-long Republican lock on all branches of government.
Well, that's been the theory and fear.
Yeah.
I don't think I would go that far. I'm just hoping that it lessens the bleeding this fall, because Florida did redistrict and they might get a couple seat pickup, and I think the other southern states are redistricting. There might be a few seat pickup there, but
he's talking about 48 with the census later. But even with this, he's talking about 24 seats. Mm-hmm. Switching 12 and 12 going in the other direction.
Right, but I don't know how many will happen by fall. I think that the Democrats still potentially can pick up the House in fall.
Alabama's doing it today. The South is doing it today. I mean, he is primarying the shit out of these rhinos in Indiana today. We're going to have answers by Monday morning.
That's true. And he's also primarying Cassidy. Hopefully Cassidy's out in Louisiana. Cassidy screwed over his latest pick. Was it? I always forget if it's Callie or Casey Means, but one of the means that he put up for, I believe, Deputy HHS or no, Surgeon General.
Surgeon General.
And it's the second person that Cassidy spiked. So
do we not have a Surgeon General right now?
I don't think there is a current one. I don't know if there's an acting Surgeon General. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar.
By the way, Tim Pool said that the only state that is possibly in danger of switching, and he said that would be a stretch to Republican Senate control, would be Alaska. And he said that's a stretch.
That could be. Well, we got a big favor out of Maine.
Yeah.
With Janet Mills dropping out after going after that guy. Was it? He's Spencer something or another. I forgot the guy's name. Yeah.
Manter or Planter is the Nazi guy.
Yeah. Guy with a fancy tattoo said he didn't know what they meant.
Well, this is going to be Susan Collins's 85th consecutive term then.
To be fair to Susan Collins, they have run many people against her, and they all
they're down to SS tattooed people now.
Yeah, and she's a known quantity. She's not exactly a hardcore right winger in any way, but she represents the people.
Right, you're correct. They can't wrap the rope of Trump around her neck.
Oh no, and she's tolerated. Right, and she's tolerated by Trump because of that. So it's like again, she's
there's a lot of election news out of California. I don't know if you're covering it or following what's going on. Gubernatorial debate on CNN tonight, nationally. I mean, there's a lot of activity here.
Why is there a national debate?
Good question.
I just asked it, so answer.
The answer is they're going to pump up Xavier Becerra to become the next governor of the state of California.
Okay, well, he's the one that's a dark horse guy coming out of nowhere, right?
Not a dark horse anymore. I mean, he is the mainstream Obama candidate backed by Joe Biden, backed by the Democratic machine, backed by DC. This is a guy with a lot of muscle in back of him, and I predict will be the next governor of the state of California. Simply because the fuckface didn't get out of the lane. Chad Bianco with his 14%, instead of resigning and endorsing Steve Hilton, he instead, I believe, is a phony candidate designed to take down Steve Hilton, as we've seen many times. This is a phony Republican who took a knee during George Floyd, had his entire police force, the sheriff's department out there in San Bernardino, bowing down to Negro idols during the George Floyd socialist riots. This is not a real Republican, and he's in there to undermine Steve Hilton, who is tied with Xavier Becerra, but also Hilton is missing the 14% that Chad Bianco is sitting on and refused to withdraw from the race.
Kind of like Curtis Sliwa.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Sliwa plan. Now, tonight, CNN is going to treat Xavier Becerra as if he's the president of the United States and the leading candidate for governor and blah, 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 to cement it. That's what other stations can't do and other forces can't do because Republicans do not control the media.
Well, that's lovely. So tell us about Becerra. Who is this guy? I haven't really.
No, he's a middle of the road Latin man who has very little baggage, who is going to be voted on by every Latino in the state of California. It's not about the man. There's nothing there. He's an empty suit. That's the point.
Well, is he an improvement on Katie Porter and
Swalwell? Absolutely.
So there is a possibility, and I don't know for sure, but there's a possibility he may be not terrible.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But believe me, the Democratic Party will run the state of California when he gets elected, as opposed to anybody of the other candidates who are really mavericks, including Katie Porter, Swalwell, whatever you make of these people. They were not beholden to the machine. He's beholden to the machine. He's a machine Democrat. He's been appointed to everything his entire life.
Well, it's kind of scary to say, but a machine Democrat seems less scary to me than a full-throated leftist.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Absolutely.
Because the leftists, I feel, have just run away, and some of the core Democrats they almost seem right-wing now in comparison to the idiots out there.
Yeah, but I just wanted to point out how the machine works in real time so people can follow along. The mail-in ballots came out yesterday. Everybody received them in the mail. Steve Hilton is not in there for some reason in the description of the candidacy. There's a lot of different bizarre things in there, but the reality of it is, you should see clips of the debate. Maybe we could show them next week after the debate to show you if they do what I say they're going to do, which is to highlight this dark horse, as you say. It's not just you, the media is saying dark horse as well, which is really just to give him some more media momentum.
And then what about, so I guess the billionaire just doesn't have enough money to cover it. Is he another Bloomberg, essentially?
He's also another Rick Caruso, the same exact storyline. These are non-Trump billionaires, Democrat and Republican, both switching parties all the time, trying to gain power. The people don't like them. They also suck oxygen out of the room and money. And Steyer is not going to do it. And it's going to come down to Becerra and or Steve Hilton. And in a state that has that many Democrats, you will see all of them coming home to roost. There will be Kamala Harris, there will be Biden, there will be Nancy Pelosi, all embracing this guy to cement the victory in a overly Democratic state.
With versus the minority, which is even better for him.
Right. Versus a bald-headed British guy from Fox News. One of the most, and I'm voting for him, don't get me wrong, but one of the most laughable candidates that could ever possibly run in this state is a bald-headed British guy from Fox News, Eric.
Well, you did have a full-haired Austrian accented guy that ran your state at one point.
Right, who happened to make over $6 billion in revenue for the studios of
That's true.
California.
But
Right.
I'm
Steve
just pointing out that
Hilton.
you're not against accents.
It's not about accents. I mean, Steve Hilton has made very little money for the state of California.
And what about your other guy, Spencer Pratt? Dead in the water or
Dead in the water? Not going to happen, unfortunately, even though I'm going to vote for him. It looks like Nithya Raman has a lead, according to the Poly Markets, to be the next socialist mayor of Los Angeles, to go with the socialist mayor of Seattle, the socialist mayor of New York, the socialist mayor of Chicago. The list goes on and on and on. Apparently, nobody gives a fuck that the socialists are taking over every major city in the country. Everybody who's a Republican just shrugs and goes, oh, well, they'll fail, and then we'll be able to laugh at them. I mean, it's astounding. It's astounding. If fucking Stalin himself ran for governor of New York, they would say, you'll see, he'll fail. I mean, there's just nothing that panics these people. Nothing. Every city run by communists, they go, you'll see, they'll fail. They'll collapse on their own petard. No explanation that once they achieve power, they very rarely give up power, Eric, as you're well aware.
Right. Pratt is claiming, I saw a thing on that, that the current leader was recruited by Bass because Bass was doing poorly.
Yeah.
And so she literally was pulled out of the woodwork to handed the baton by Bass, in other words.
And I said that on this show many weeks ago. I actually said those words here for Nithya Raman to take the far left to make Bass look middle of the road, and then Pratt would be, some nut. Now, Kamala Harris came in yesterday and endorsed Bass, saying that she's endorsing her because she completely cleaned up homelessness and crime in the city of Los Angeles. And
the fire? No, sorry.
The fire guy was by the way, I was going to the New York Post, had the fire guy who started the fire in Palisades come out and say that in his social media that he worshiped Louis Mangione, the alleged healthcare killer, and he set the fire to destroy the billionaires. There may be a photo of him. He is the Louis Mangione West Coast edition. And he is bragging about it on social media all the way to this guy here. This is the guy on the right, is the LA Luigi Mangione, and all kinds of comments about burning out the billionaires in LA and let Malibu burn, as has been reported in various books. A big desire to burn Malibu to the ground, literally taught at UCLA as an elective class.
Yeah, it's a well-lauded book.
Right. Now, this guy is in the same mindset. He's a Marxist. He wants to destroy property, and they're not done. There seems to be no commission. There seems to be no oversight. There seems to be the FBI takes them as they come, as if it's another type of bank robbery or something. We need an anti-socialist crime division of the FBI that just focuses on these destruction plans by these terrorist individuals, these personal Marxist jihads that have now become popular on the left. We need an organized crime unit of just this type of crime.
Paging Joseph McCarthy.
Yeah.
Paging Joseph McCarthy.
No, I'm talking about in the FBI.
No, I know that, but I'm saying
talking
Congress
about
would be fine too.
Federal law enforcement needs to have an organized crime division of Marxist socialist terrorist crimes. And what do you do with that? Then you infiltrate the groups. Then you monitor their mail. It leads to a lot of different things that can help you get a leg up instead of burning 17,000 fucking houses to the ground and having a guy cheering about it.
That's true. And they already do have that because they have infiltrators into eco-terrorism, into other things. And I consider them to be a cousin. And eco-terrorist to me is a cousin from a hardcore leftist.
Oh, absolutely. You kidding me?
Their mentality is pretty similar.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Now,
well, I just want to read a quote by this judge before we go too far. The actual quote was J6 defendants engaged in analogous conduct, but were treated far better, unquote. That was the actual quote by the judge down below about this cat here.
Analogous.
Analogous.
Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here going, even if you believe 100% of every bullshit line about January 6th, you tell me how that one, there wasn't a single armed person on January 6th except for the one who killed Ashley Babbitt, or anybody else. So we're already out the door, already just right from the jump. That
it's an insane comparison by an insane person who, I don't care if you say that he's mentally ill and do a 5150 on this judge. Take him down, declare him mentally ill, and remove him from the bench. Let the dust settle in 90 days when he gets out of a psychiatric institute. There are ways to fucking do this. Bobby Kennedy took a general, put him in a mental institution in Missouri for leading an uprising at Oxford, Mississippi in the early 60s, and put him in a straitjacket. There are ways to do this. They don't have the fucking balls.
That's true. Well, while we're discussing mental illness,
I just got here. I was on the left. So now it's shocking to me because I was told that these people were Nazis. They were aggressive. They were right wing. They were militaristic. And now I'm here. I don't see any of it.
Right. But now, okay, question for you. You said you just got here. So before you got here, did you believe it?
I believed every bit of it.
Okay. So there's the problem is,
well, when I got here, there was no activity at all. It was just people playing golf.
Well, and unfortunately, your former you is populating the entire mainstream media pretty much.
Right.
And things like that. So
I am really David Horowitz's son. I know I wanted to reveal that today because, again, they didn't kill my secretary, the Black Panthers, like they did with David Horowitz. But enough stuff happened to me to bring me over to this side. And the story is very similar to Horowitz's for my political movement from left to right.
Well, I mean, can we go into that a little? Because I don't know if you've ever technically said, hey, this was kind of the first crack in the veneer that I said.
I'll tell you right now, black crime statistics.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Black crime statistics. I studied it privately to myself for many years, and there was no mention of it. I don't have to get into the actual numbers. People know the actual numbers. I mean, I was bused to a black school in high school, which was the Amityville Horror. That was my personal horror. But later on, when these statistics started to come out, and what's her name from the Manhattan Institute? Heather McDonald. I mean, she just reinforced my private research, and the cover-up of that by the left was the equivalent for me of the disappearance of the accountant that worked for David Horowitz with the Black Panthers. It was, for me, the same thing.
I was going to say also the person who was up to be president of Harvard lost everything because of his study on that exact subject. I forgot his name, but he talked about it. He is black, and he thought it would be an easy study. That's why he picked it. And he said that it was an obvious study about the black crime statistics. And so he did the whole study and the numbers were upside down. And so he's like, he scrapped it all.
Yeah.
No, and he pulled in like 100 intern, whatever, like every student or whatever. And he redid the entire experiment.
Yeah.
See, I forgot the guy's name. I feel terrible. But anyway.
Not Bell. It wasn't Bell.
No, I don't think it was Bell. Somebody in the chat would probably pop it in eventually.
The Bell Curve book is very interesting.
The Bell Curve book is another one, and that's been deemed as the racist manual.
Right. So I immediately got that one. I got, like I said to you, the copy of the Turner Diaries early on, and I just filed it away. I didn't do anything. It didn't convert me. I still voted twice for Obama, 16 times for Hillary Clinton, voted for Bill Clinton 11 times, or whatever the amount of times these people ran. I just
Hillary, right, as a senator?
Yeah, no, of course, as a New York resident, I voted for her twice as a senator, and then out here, I voted for her over Obama in the California primary. But then again, I voted for him twice, and like everyone else who is a new member of the right, we all have a similar story.
Okay, well, did Obama's second term help push that along because of his, well, that looks like my son.
Yeah,
With
that was the
Trayvon
beginning.
Martin
That
and-
was the first. The Trayvon Martin thing was another chink in the armor. That bullshit story that was so transparent. Absolutely.
Okay, and then
But at the end of the day,
hands up, don't shoot, and
at the end of the day, it was all racial incidents that were trumped up and used as political devices that were too much for me to carry any longer.
Okay, well, thank you for telling me, and I mean, I just want to know too, because it's helpful to know what is the thing, because there's usually one thing that it doesn't do everything, but it's kind of the one thing that makes people pause, and that's all you're really looking for is the one thing that makes people pause.
It was stuff related to racial statistics, and again, like I said, I voted
think
twice.
Roland Fryer sounds right.
Roland Fryer, I don't know.
He was a Harvard professor that.
Could be, yeah. No, but the racial statistics were so unbelievably unchallengeable as to just alter my consciousness.
Yeah, well, and that's part of the reason that I'm always.
I couldn't live that lie anymore. In other words, I couldn't just look away from those crimes any longer.
Okay, and what I was going to say too, and I encourage everybody, especially if you get into arguments at home or with anybody else, ignore all crime statistics except for homicide. It is very important because you can pad every other number out there, but a dead body is very difficult to deal with.
You can also look at black on white rape and the reverse of that and see the 98%
but again,
difference.
even that can be padded because you can make it
there's
not
a long
happen.
history.
You can change the level of it.
There's a long history of those stats going back to the mid-'60s that you can look at.
True.
Heather McDonald has them also in her books. If you want to read Heather McDonald, she's got those stats in there as well. They're not secret. But you're right about homicide, but I'm just saying the interracial crime stats are staggering. They're just mind staggering.
Right. But the reason why I'm trying to harp and finish about the point is people can change, for example, shoplifting and say, oh, now it's $1,000. So look at that. Shoplifting went way down. There's nobody shoplifting anymore. Or if you don't note robbery, you don't count as that. Now it's suddenly trespassing or vandalism. It's very difficult to do that if there's a body. And that's why I'm saying if you focus on homicide.
I'm just adding on that's very recent alteration of crime stats in the past couple of years. There's crime stats that go back to 1960, Eric, that you can look at that are quite legit. Sure. They haven't gone back, as far as I know, they haven't gone back in time yet and altered the original crime stats.
This is
like they're apparently doing with the movie Animal Farm.
We'll get into that because that's Angel Studios, by the way, and not going well. But while we're talking about crime stats, hold on, I happen to have an interesting story here.
Police commanders in Washington, D.C. could be out of a job for allegedly cooking the books when it comes to crime data. Mark Meredith has been looking into all of this, and he joins us now. Hi, Mark.
John, I sure have. Good to see you. D.C. leaders insist the city is a safer place now than it was during the pandemic, but there are reports multiple metropolitan police leaders may soon lose their jobs amid an investigation into alleged manipulation of crime data. Now, D.C. police are not confirming this report. They say they don't comment on personal matters, but this is seen as a sweeping shakeup among the capital's police force. As the Washington Post writes, multiple high-ranking police officials have been served papers, basically saying the department intends to fire them, according to people familiar with the situation. DC crime still.
Anyway,
remember the previous scandal was the Atlanta Police Department, which was caught working in cahoots with real estate developers in Atlanta to lower crime statistics in areas where they were building homes and apartment complexes. And they were caught red-handed. That was after the Atlanta Teachers Association was caught increasing the test scores of illiterate Black students in Atlanta to get additional federal funding. You cannot allow these people to run institutions within their own cities. Invariably, they are far more likely to commit these crimes of altering stats, as Eric is pointing out.
Well, yeah, and this is a repeat. We've covered the DC story before, but it was somebody else, like a lieutenant commander or a really high-ranking person. He came out and he said, No. I was ordered to move these staff.
Oh, he's the one who didn't. They wanted the musical chairs to stop with him, and he didn't want that, so he fingered some people.
Yep, and
but this is across the board. This is what the socialists do in these urban centers, Eric. They will simply alter the crime stats, get the chief of police in there that is willing to do it, get the one out who is not willing to do it, have a 10,000-man army, and the top chief of police guy will be forced to alter the crime statistics at the beckoning of the socialist mayor to make it appear statistically that there's no crime.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get more Orwellian Animal Farm than that.
That's true, but that's part of the reason it was so shocking that the DC mayor actually said, you know what, the crime did go down when Trump sent in the National Guard. It was like, I don't know if she was cornered and there was a gun to her head, but she did say
think
that.
About Kamala Harris yesterday here in LA, where she lives, saying that Karen Bass has eliminated homelessness when there's probably 175,000 homeless people on the streets as I'm doing this show. She says, and obviously drove past them to get to City Hall. She is willing to lie for her girlfriend socialist to say that she cleaned up homelessness and crime.
I can't believe that she'd be endorsing a loser, because it doesn't look like Bass is going to win no matter what. It seems like the other one's pretty much going to run away with it.
I'm just saying what the poly markets have predicted.
Okay, well, but the polls
she's
got
a
right
60%.
She's got
a 60%. Bass is going to have endorsements like Bashara is coming out of the woodwork. Kamala Harris will come if needed. Obama will come if needed. Biden will come if needed. Nancy Pelosi will come here.
Well, there's some, I think even Spencer Pratt, who are claiming that, and I always forget her name, so I apologize, that the one who's in the lead right now will actually step out and quit the race.
That wouldn't be far-fetched. It's Nithya Raman, who is my actual city councilwoman.
I'm sorry.
Nithya Raman.
I'm sorry.
No, it's insane. I had Adam Schiff. That was a dark period in my life.
Well, didn't you meet one?
I had Adam Schiff. I have letters from Schiff. I have letters from my attorney general when I was complaining about eBay, signed by Kamala Harris, saying she can't help me with eBay. Letters from Adam Schiff trying to get some social security issue I had. All kinds of these things that I've saved and framed.
Wow.
But now I have Nithya Raman, who is again, if Nithya Raman wins, not only will we have two socialist mayors of the two biggest cities in the country, we will have two socialist, non-white, non-Christian mayors born in foreign countries, her in India and Mandami in Uganda. But this isn't enough to scare the Republicans. Nothing can raise Lee Atwater from the fucking grave for these people.
And I'm sorry, Mark, to correct you, but you've left out Chicago, so I'm going to say
no. But I was making a point about them being foreigners and non-Christian. That's true. He is not a foreigner, and he is a Christian. I was talking about of people of color. He is a person of color, but I was going a little further with the comparison between her and Mandami, both of them being born in foreign countries, and thereby allowed to rule over tens of millions of Americans simply because they were born in Uganda and India. They know how to run a city because of where they came from. and apparently nobody gives a shit.
No, they celebrate it. Isn't it great? It's diversity. Oh, I'm so proud today. Oh, I mean, I remember the Mandami Love Fest when he was getting in there. It's just like people were weeping, like finally we have Islamists that's going to run.
Well, I mean, when your last refuge is to pray for failure of a major U.S. city to prove your point so you don't have to get off your fat ass, that's a tough moral position to be in for the conservative movement. I'm rooting for the failure of New York because I didn't get off my fat ass to do anything to arrest the guy for election fraud, for civil service fraud, and for his fraud and his application for U.S. citizenship. I didn't have the balls to do it. So now my moral position is to root for the collapse of a major American city. That's insane, Eric. That's just fucking insane, bro.
Yep. Well, that's the burn it down crowd. Essentially. All right. Well, while we're talking about crazy and insane, how about this particular driver?
Oh my God!
Whoa, what's he doing?
This woman was drunk and pissed off and literally drove to chase this kid down on the motorcycle.
Wow.
Then she tried to get into somebody's house.
Oh boy!
When the
drunk
cops,
women.
Yeah, I mean, look at here. You can see the interaction.
It's a sin. Yeah.
Okay, here we go, and we're up. This guy's on the bike, like what? Probably talking trash, but we'll see.
You look like a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Oh my
What
God!
kind of trash can he be talking?
I don't know. I mean, but I'm just saying he could have been like, "Hey, watch out, lady," or something. Who knows? But
Right.
I'm not saying he was a. Nobody should be chasing the person down the sidewalk with the foot car.
No, but I'm
Okay.
saying he looks like he's a 10 or 12.
Yeah. This is Spokane, Washington. So congratulations.
Well,
folks.
they're going. That's out of control up there. Starbucks has left Seattle, and the mayor simply said bye-bye, Seattle employer. So they have fled now. There's mass exodus of these companies seems to not, at least publicly, bother these Marxist mayors.
No, as a matter of fact, Portland is even worse. They did a whole feature. I mean, Nike left Portland.
Yeah,
Think about that for a
fancy,
second. These companies that are established, 40, 50 years old, they're literally part of the fabric. Nope. Bye-bye.
Nope. Doesn't bother them. Doesn't bother them. At least publicly.
Yeah. By the way, while you're talking about people and burning it down and Democrats, here is another addition to the Democrat Party, and I'm sure that they will be lined up to accept him. And here he is.
Oh, wow.
I care about affordability. I care about foreign interventions. I care about the border. I'm a non-woke moderate Democrat. I think the GOP needs to be destroyed. I think the corrupt criminal government of Trump needs to be slowed down. We need to impeach the orange. It's time to put this nigga in a peach. Trump needs to be placed inside of a crystal. He needs to be impeached. This fat orange, tiny hands needs to be impeached. And then in 28, no Vance, no Rubio. We have to burn down the whole party.
Right.
So there you go.
That's where they're going. That's where they're going. He's just being more acerbic about it. But that's where this whole movement is going with Joe Kent and Tucker and him and Candace and all the other groups.
Yeah. And again, though, I always say that one thing about him is he doesn't really hide the ball.
No.
Out of a lot of them, he doesn't pretend like, oh, this and this and that. Nope.
Who is that guy, Dan Brazilian? That
oh God, I told you about him.
What is that guy? That animal? What is that hairy beast about?
Well, his father, I believe, is still in prison. If he didn't die in prison, for like major embezzlement. I think it's Dan Bilzerian.
Bilzerian, yeah.
He there are questions whether his father laundered money through him. His claim to fame is as an Instagram influencer, where he would, go around with all the, bikini clad women on boats and what have you.
Okay.
Supposedly manosphere type and, hooking up, blah,
like
blah,
an
blah, all
Andrew
that crap.
Tate, Eric, or like that?
Well, he got to start he's picking up all the women. He's rich. Look, I'm a rich playboy who has all the women. And now he's saying, oh, by the way, I hate the Jews. So I have one.
That's all I know him for.
Well, that's what his focus is. So if he wasn't talking about women, I don't think he's doing it anymore. So maybe
I have
his
never
junk
heard
got
him talk
soft.
about women. Of course, I have only seen the guy.
Well, it's been a few
5
years. So,
Yeah.
people, they shift interests. So
Yeah.
1 minute he was into women and money, I guess. And now
Right.
he's just into hating Jews. And he's got that down well.
I mean, this guy's the most virulent of the group, I think.
Well,
Is there somebody worse than him?
Jake Shields is up there with him.
Who?
I mean, Jake Shields, the MMA fighter. He's pretty. I mean, I don't want to rule anybody out. They all earn their place.
Right.
Nick Fuentes has a good, honorable spot in there.
My comic sense, if I was an SNL writer, would be to have a game show, putting them all up with a buzzer about the Jews, and just call the game show "What about the Jews?" and have them answer the insane questions with their own words, with their own words, with a buzzer.
Hassan Piker.
But I guess that's too far. That's too far out for SNL. They didn't take as much acid as I did.
Well, no, I think it's a great idea because, and there's so many of them. You could have it like, the Final Four, like, bracketing, and then they could go against
like
each other.
Sexual Jeopardy, the home game, which I eventually gave to Howard and through boy Gary, and that's where Howard got it. I ended up in federal court being sued by Merv Griffin, but that ended up on Stern's show as Sexual Jeopardy, and SNL just completely a backwards organization at this point. Absolutely gone in complete backwards comic roads.
I agree. As a matter of fact, it's at the point now where if there is a funny stint, it's like, oh, look at that. They have a funny stint.
Dude, I've never seen more coverage. I was just saying this to someone the other day on Monday morning. Variety or Deadline had 5 different articles just on various sketches that they did on this piece of shit low-rated show. I was just like, I don't remember any articles on sketches years ago, and now there were 5 on Monday morning. There about 5 different sketches. It was ridiculous with photos.
And let me guess, they all were saying the hilarious and witty and forward thinking. Yeah. They taught you. I mean, so now you know. Oh, that was funny. Nobody was laughing, but thank you for telling us.
I'd like to ask my British friends. We should have a segment called Ask Our British Friends what the new SNL is like in Britain, because it's getting better reviews than the New York SNL, the American SNL now. It just started, Eric, in Britain. And I'm hearing, at least you can't trust the critics, but there seems to be a agreement that it's better than the American SNL. And I don't know.
It can be funny.
I'm going to ask my British friends if that's true.
Oh, I definitely want to see that. I mean, and the Brits can be funny. I mean, look Ricky.
Anybody could be funny. The Germans could be funny if they tried, but they don't try.
That's true.
Right. That's well, there's a woman I'm doing a show about tomorrow who you may think is funny, and her name was Joan Rivers. And she did one of the jokes. Some of the jokes are just so outrageous. She was in a Mercedes limo and the engine broke down, and she said they could shove 6 million Jews into an oven, but they can't fix a Mercedes. And, on a talk show, just some great anti-German lines. And a lot of people don't know that she had tattooed on the inner crook of her elbow a tattoo that said 6M for 6 million Jews who were killed by the Nazis. Very tiny 6M. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Okay, well, by the way, you should be jealous because Tommy J saying that I am the one who obviously is getting paid by Israel.
I am the one, not Hunley, you knucklehead.
I want my check, damn it. Where is my $7,000?
How do you get these checks? My dad went over as Michal to fight for free, and I asked him, this is in 48 when Israel was forming, and I said, Dad, didn't they pay you? And he says, yeah, they did. There was some like $1.20 a week. There was some kind of money that was being
like paid. Jury duty.
It was like jury duty money to fight the British and help build an air force out of the scrap metal from the British fuselages that was strewn across the desert. And they slapped those together into the first Israeli Air Force. But I never got paid. My dad got $1.50 a week.
Yeah, somebody please tell me if I filled out the wrong form or what I can do, because I can really use the
checks in the mail, and it just takes a while because of all the conflict in the air. So air mail is taking longer than expected. Be patient.
All right. Well, I'm waiting for it. So, all right, here I have a baseball moment for you.
What is this?
It's a baseball moment, right. and you should be pleased.
2-2 to Lindor. And he launches one to deep right field, and back goes Thomas for a look, but that is way out of here up in the second deck. Nimmo and Lindor hit back-to-back home runs to start the first inning, and it's 2-0 New York.
And that's who got the ball.
Oh, we got the ball.
Yeah, we got a lucky.
Wow. Well, it's bark in the park, but that Nimmo Lindor back-to-back homers will never happen again, because Lindor, who's an avowed socialist, demanded that Nimmo, the guy who hit the jack in front of him for the first run, be traded to the Texas Rangers, where he's killing it and living a happily ever after life while the Mets are dead last.
Oh, fair enough. But I'm here for the dog.
No, the dog. Again, nobody's ever explained to me where the dogs during Bark in the Park urinate and take a dump. So that's a scary situation out there in these stadiums when they have bark in the park night.
I see. Well,
but good work for that retriever, though. Nice work.
Hey,
he's got a worthless piece of shit baseball from a worthless piece of shit shortstop.
Well, he lived up to his name. He is officially a retriever.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was a very, very cool moment. And there you go. That's my contribution to the
I'll take anything element. At this point. I'll take anything.
Let me see. What else do we have here? Okay. Well, this is very brief, but I thought it was pretty funny. Did you hear about the dolphin question in the Strait of Hormuz?
I couldn't understand what the plan was, though.
Okay, well, here's Hegseth responding to somebody commenting.
Confirm or deny whether we have kamikaze dolphins, but I can confirm.
It's too quiet. Okay, he's saying I cannot confirm or deny.
That's funny.
That we have robot dolphins or
kamikaze dolphins.
That's right, kamikaze dolphins.
Yeah, I think that's.
But I can say that they do not have kamikaze dolphins.
Damn, no kamikaze dolphins. You know, like I said before, they were all through the war, the Japanese kamikazes, and FDR asked the media not to report it for the morale of the American people. So if they did have kamikaze dolphins, they may be taking a page out of the FDR media playbook by not announcing, as certain right-wing pundits have now demanded to put out there in the zeitgeist, that we have had all our bases destroyed by Iranian missiles. I've heard that from podcasters on the MAGA Reich for weeks, and it's all a big conspiracy and a cover-up. They have a thing called video, they have a thing called cell phones, and they have reporters, none of which have acknowledged this. So until that happens, I'm going to get my information from Pete Hegseth.
Well, and also, you're correct. Okay, first up, I'm sure the bases took damage. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I said it was relatively light, and I was like, I hadn't heard about it. Why haven't I heard about that? Well, I haven't seen on CBS, ABC, NBC.
No friends of the president. No
they
friends
all
of the
hate his guts. So I would think they would.
I would get a crew there immediately. They were showing the funeral of what was the guy's name? Soleimani. Trump took out, and this woman from CBS, I forget it. Oh no, it was what's her name? The ABC woman who's always Dratch or Muriel Dratch. What's her name? She is a real Trump hater on ABC. The older blonde woman, and she even covered the funeral. She went to Iran with a thing on her head, a shmata, and was in a sea of Iranian people weeping over the death of Soleimani a couple of years ago.
Wow. Sounds like Chris Murphy, our own senator, who is cheering on the Iranians currently.
Well, what are you hearing about Comey, that they've got other stuff on Comey now?
We'll see.
Okay.
No, we'll see. But Nick Shirley has apparently inspired Fox, and they are now trying to do some work in California on the fraud front. So I don't know if you saw that.
They should hire him like they have Malugin. I mean, they're just copying him, but they should actually hire the kid.
My name is Wayne Lajeunesse with Fox News. You're with Graceful Care?
Yes.
Can I talk to you a little about some questions of the care that you provided to individuals? Up in the center?
No, I don't think so.
I have some workers here doing some stuff.
Okay. You want us to wait outside? Okay.
This guy's terrible. He has to go to the Geraldo Rivera School of Journalism and just push the door open, go in with you got to push it open. That's number one.
Well, yeah, jam your foot in. Hey,
you jam your whole body in. You don't say, can I come in and interview you about indictable criminal questions about these matters? No, I'm not going to let that happen. Thank you.
That's true. Or have his foot in the door saying, "You want me to come back later?" as he's walking in.
Right. No, you push your way in. She says to leave. You don't leave. This is my personal rules of journalism. You make them call the cops. The cops show up, and then you explain this whole thing. You got more footage, more questions. The cops are eventually going to either enforce trespassing and simply ask you to leave. At that point, you've got a million hours of questions.
Yeah, that's true. All right. It's a follow-up story. And you actually sent me a link too, but I'm one-upping you on it. And This is the whole crazy-ass rating of Scientology, and they have teenagers
Dude,
in
I
New York,
love this.
etc.
I love this story. I can't get enough. Go ahead.
All right, well, here we go. This is probably the pinnacle of the story. It's a little short, but it is what it is. 20 Christian dwarves have raided.
Eric, I've been showing this to my friends all week. This is one of the best of all time. Go ahead.
Yeah, when the dwarves are here, it's done. I mean,
keep in mind, this is right around the corner from my house. Keep this in mind here.
Today, me and my friends are raiding the Church of Scientology. Yeah! Go! No, let's go! Me! Let's go! Woo! Where's Dino? Jesus is king, baby! Oh, go! Let's find Dino! They go in the building? Go!
All right, just in case.
These two guys in New York ran in and with a group, and they got so far into the bowels of Scientology that they found like an e-meter prayer room, and they got spooked. They were all alone, and they went in yelling, "Where's Tom Cruise? Where's Tom Cruise?" kidding around. And they got so deep into the bowels of the Scientology, I think it was the New York office, that they found these e-meter machines. They found the actual dossiers, and they found the write-ups of, whoever was getting e-meter readed in that organization there in New York.
It's probably this one. I don't see a video clip with it though. So
right.
But I still feel like the dwarves are kind of like, I can't go much bigger.
That's Big Blue, by the way. If you scroll back down, that's right around the corner from my house. That's the one that Thomas Jane ran out of when they tried to get him, and he jumped on a city bus with bare feet to escape. That used to be a hospital right here in LA that when Scientology took it over, they took it over so quickly that cadavers were left on the morgue floors of the hospital that they bought and turned it into Big Blue. And they painted it blue too. Tons and tons of cadavers that they had to deal with Scientology.
Wow. Okay, well, they could.
Now, Karen Bass has gotten all kinds of money and endorsements historically from Scientology. They have gone quiet in the past year or two or three regarding her and Scientology. But when she ran against Rick Caruso, she spoke at that Big Blue before hundreds of Scientologists. Caruso pointed it out. And when he went to bed the night of the election night, he was way ahead. And after 3 weeks of methodical counting, Rick Caruso lost the mayor's race to Karen Bass.
Wow, amazing.
But it took 3 weeks. He put up a good fight. He failed to supervise the counting of the ballots. He said he was too busy to do that. They said, thank you very much. And after 3 weeks of counting, she finally pulled ahead and became the mayor.
Yeah, but let me guess. The second she pulled ahead, that's about enough. Okay.
They said that was enough. Yeah, we ran out of ballots. Absolutely. It was like the last 10 ballots she pulled ahead.
Imagine that. Wow.
Normally, a federal government would come in and investigate through the Department of Justice. They're allowed to do that under FBI guidelines and Department of Justice guidelines about corrupt elections locally. You could go into Des Moines, Iowa, if it was a corrupt election and investigate it. They are afraid of their own fucking shadows. They just want to play golf until they lose the entire country. And then they'll be incarcerated. They'll be playing in country clubs and prisons. If you get to the first level prison, I think you could actually play tennis.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. Are you in the mood to, I'm curious how you feel, take a cruise anywhere? Get on a cruise ship?
No. And people ask you all the time, you want to go on a cruise? In fact, I was thinking about that cruise to Alaska, that one that people really talk about on the West Coast a lot. But I had a feeling there might be another reason not to take a cruise. Go on.
Yes. Well, this one. Here's what's next for doomed hantavirus-infected cruise ship.
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
I don't know what hantavirus is. All I know is it's bad and it's killed 3 people.
Hackman, bro. That's the one that killed Gene Hackman and his wife.
Oh shit, that's right. With the rat. Oh,
with
yeah,
the
yeah,
rodents in Arizona.
That's right. That's right. Oh, I forgot. Well,
it's the defecation of the rodents. It's even in the air of the rodents.
Which makes me go, what kind of hygiene is on that damn ship?
I mean, he had $1 million home and he had, rat droppings. You know, and
yeah,
the
but if
wealthiest,
he was a hoarder, I mean, you could have a rich.
No. But I'm saying
you
you can have hunter droppings in the wealthiest of homes. I mean, you really have to stay on it with rodent people. You know, getting rid of it, Eric.
Well, apparently this cruise ship is floating around, and they're trying to figure out, who's going to take them. So it's a lot like the garbage barge in
it's
Virginia
a ghost ship
from
now.
New York.
It's a ghost ship.
Arguing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see that, and I'm like, I just don't. I can't see going on a cruise ship. I like the idea of it, but
it's unlimited food, unlimited a lot of unlimited drinking, unlimited food. Pay one price. You're out at sea.
This is true. There's a lot of.
It's good for a husband and wife. It's not good for like single people, but husband and wife is the typical. I wouldn't go on the Carnival lines because that is just
that's Spirit of the Seas.
That's Spirit of the Sea. That's just a ghetto cruise ship where they just start twerking. I think the employees even twerk when you come on board with their uniforms on.
Oh, I think so. I think that's
my biggest nightmare, is to be trapped on one of those ships. You can't get off. They go, it's only 2 more weeks. And you're like, oh, dear God. Have you seen the montages of Spirit Airlines' greatest hits that are roaming around Instagram and YouTube? They've compiled some of the great moments of Spirit Air into montages on YouTube that are just brilliant.
All right.
Sad to see you go. We'll miss you, Spirit Air.
All right. I want to ask everybody. I've got somebody complaining about my mic sound being terrible.
Sounds perfect.
All right.
Sorry,
I know you said it sounds good. Everybody else in the chat.
Move on. Don't give them any oxygen, honey.
No, I mean, if it's a technical issue, I do want to know.
I would tell you. I'd be the first one to tell you.
Right.
I would speak up and say, Hunley, I can't hear you.
Okay.
But a guy in the chat who's in his garage in the middle of Indiana is going to disrupt the show by telling you he can't hear you.
Absolutely.
Right. That makes more sense.
Oh, of course.
All right. What else you got in the hopper there?
Because I aim to serve. Well, while we're talking about ships, Trump is essentially has deployed our forces to not exactly escort, but just kind of monitor the situation. And he's saying that we're going to help ships, clear the Strait of Hormuz. And in my opinion, and I'm curious your thoughts, I am thinking that this is kind of a way to nudge it forward. Like either you let these ships go or you make a move and then the firing is going to resume on you. So I don't know if he's trying to.
I'd say good opinion. I would take a little further. I would escort the ships every single day for 6 months, ignore the Iranians and choke them to fucking death. That's it. I wouldn't even acknowledge them. I would just escort these ships with U.S. military escorts through the Strait of Hormuz, get these fucking pieces of shit of Lloyd's of London on the phone and say, if you don't insure these ships, we'll bankrupt your fucking company. You'll never work again. And escort these ships militarily for 6 consecutive months and just choke these people out. Choke them out. Don't even acknowledge them. Don't go tit for tat. Don't have these stupid proposals coming back and forth. It just gives them too much legitimacy is what I'm saying.
Well, I understand that, but I do have another question on that, and it is a major headline because Iran did hit the UAE yesterday with drones and missiles, and the UAE, to their credit, has completely sided with the United States, including pulling out of OPEC.
Right.
So it appears we're going to just let it stand. So are we going to let it stand or not let it stand?
I would just chalk it up to rogue ceasefire violators. That's it. Rogue ceasefire violators. Moving on.
All right. Well, so far, I like the idea of
they'd like us to re-engage, but don't take the bait. Escort the ships, get the oil out, crush them to death, choke them out. That's my strategy. Okay. And I think that is what the strategy is.
Well,
I don't think it's my strategy.
He isn't doing anything. So yeah, that I would assume is the.
Nobody's going to Islamabad to eat that shitty food over there, to get a proposal on paper that says we'll talk about uranium in about 6 years. Meanwhile, release the sanctions, release our ships, and we'll be happy to see you go. It's a waste of time. Choke them out, destroy them, make them cry uncle. After a while, the army is not going to get paid. How often does an army fight without getting paid in your historical estimation, Eric? I think 1 million reals equals $1 now.
No, I know it has no money, but I'm going to say that we have standards, and then they have standards. They're not necessarily the same. Like,
okay, but they have the standard of eating, though, right?
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that I don't want to hold my own personal standards together, because their standards are, all right, I want you to report to duty. Oh, hell no, you didn't pay me. Boom, you're dead. Okay, I want you to report to duty. Oh, I can't. You're dead. And if they don't care quite as much about their own people in life, it is a different conversation.
Well,
and
their families, I just gone by any country in the region, not Brooklyn. I'm talking about countries in the Middle East. You literally survive by having an army that you've paid to prop you up as a regime. If you're not paying, and this could go to South American dictatorships as well. One reason we've seen regime change in these areas is that armies don't get paid. And they say, okay, bye-bye. I have to go find some food somewhere. They take off their uniform, put on civilian clothes, and try to feed their own freaking families.
I agree. But I just don't know how long of a rope they have.
That's what I'm saying. Who cares? What do you care how long it takes? It's better than
because it does affect us too. I mean, the sooner it's finished, the better it is.
Everybody seems to want it every single way but loose. You don't want boots on the ground. You don't want oil prices to go up. You don't want gas prices to go up. You don't want the Iranians to have a nuclear weapon. Well, you can't have everything.
Well,
I mean, these things crash into each other, Eric. Not to pick on you, I'm just saying these overlapping things, you can't have your cake and eat it too in every single department. It's crazy. I'm gonna root for the Iranians because I work for the New York Times. I hope they get nuclear weapons so they could blow us all to smithereens. I mean, these theories and positions, these moral positions, are so bankrupt as to be laughable if it wasn't so serious.
True. And I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying I don't know what the actual timeline is because I'm not in the mix. So.
Exactly. But again, we're not at World War III as predicted by the MAGA Reich people. We have not had our bases destroyed. We have not had boots on the ground. Every single prediction, and I'm disregarding the left because they're just crazy. Every single prediction by the MAGA Reich movement of podcasters has been laughed out of existence because none of it has happened.
To be fair to the left, they're not as noisy as the MAGA right.
I know.
So I'm sorry. I'm thinking a lot of
Eric. If your enemies were screaming at your enemies, wouldn't you let them keep screaming and shut the fuck up?
Oh no, I agree, but I'm just saying it's kind of crazy because how many times have we seen on two-way where the Democrat and the Republican are pretty much agreeing, and Halperin is the one who. So I'm just saying it's not.
By the way, who are his permanent hosts? Speaking of Halperin, you want to get in on this?
Supposedly tomorrow it's going to happen, but
for people at home,
I'm going to vote Larry O'Connor.
Okay,
and
the other guy.
I think Larry and the guy he's normally with would be a great pair, but
that's what I'm hoping.
But who's Haima is popular.
Oh, Haima's terrible. Oh, dude, that guy.
It'd probably be him. Well, because then it'd be diverse. So I don't know.
Please. O'Connor and the other guy have a rapport.
Well, and they've been there longer. I feel like I think that Mark could just default and just say, well, they were kind of the stand-in and they were sort of the first people I called. So,
but they're not voting seniority. They're not
Kevin,
voting,
I think is the other guy. Wait.
Kevin, he's very good. Yeah, he's very good.
So
the girl's no good. The Republican girl's no good. She's got that vocal fry. I'm sorry. I can't listen to vocal fry.
And he's got that one guy who's like a departed hair lobbyist. He's okay, but his mics always offer a little.
And Erickson is too strident and weird.
Oh, Erickson's a never Trumper.
Right. He's too weird to be on there. He's got some weirdness going on.
Yeah, trust me. He's
I don't know who he is, but he's got an agenda that he's not putting out there.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you heard it this morning. No.
Yeah, I heard it this morning.
He's
creepy, bro. He's a creepy dude.
Yeah, he's been on that for a while. So, all right. Well, you know what? While we're talking about Spirit Airlines and other jobs, I thought this was a neat little piece that somebody put out on X. I think it's Charlie Curran. Marco just learned that he's in charge of Spirit Airlines now.
Oh,
looks like you're going to have to take over Spirit too, Marco.
Oh, that's funny. That's great. Wow. Oh my God, it's brilliant. Brilliant. Oh my God, that's hysterical. Oh, that's great. That's freaking great. That
looks like you're going to have to.
That's genius, Eric.
Anyway,
whoever made that should be putting
everybody follow Charles Curran or
brilliant
at Charlie B. Curran.
Brilliant, absolutely genius.
That was fun as hell.
AI at its best. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, there's good AI and then there's bad AI.
Not
That
so
is
good. Yeah.
good AI.
Very well done. And that's why they want to get their hands on AI in Hollywood, and they are going to tear each other apart over this political hot potato.
Absolutely they are.
Yeah.
Absolutely are. All right. Well, while we are discussing AI and preparation and work and research and everything else, sometimes you need a little energy. You want to make a Marco Rubio taking over an airline clip, and you need energy. You could do it legally, and we provide a way with our own 2 great coffee blends. We have America's Untold Stories Supreme Breakfast Blend, and of course the newer but not lesser Magic Bullet Blend. Both of these are fantastic, and you can look at that little QR code right there in the middle of the screen. You can point your phone at it and order it right now if you're watching on TV. Anything else, if that doesn't work for you, that's fine too. You can always go to americasuntoldstories.com/coffee. I literally just ordered 4 bags this morning because I get free shipping if I order 4 bags, which
you're a 4-bagger.
That's right. I'm a 4-bagger. I do 2 of each, and I just alternate between the 2, and it lasts me about a month. So probably more than a month. But
there's also the Magic Pellet Blend that he's working on right now, the buckshot version of the Magic Pellet.
The buckshot blend would be a
buckshot
good name. I like the alliteration on that.
Buckshot blend. Work on that one over there at your
and while we are discussing coffee and things coming up, some of you may not realize this, but we are going to be in Anaheim, California.
Oh, this is
on
going to
June
be good.
27th.
Oh, look at that! Wow.
And we are having
this was made in shop class. This poster. What's going on in this poster here?
What's going on in this poster? All right. Well, we have the lovely background of Anaheim, our logo, and the ever important QR code.
Okay.
That I put up in the corner.
Right on.
So you again can point your phone at it, and it will take you right to the sign up page. Or if you're listening, America's Untold Stories.
You hear this, Mike Schaefer? Pay attention here, Mike.
/meetup. So americasuntoldstories.com/meetup will take you there. Or you can point your phone at it, and we will be in Anaheim meeting on the 27th of June.
When?
The 27th of June.
You hear that in New
2026.
Smyrna Beach. Attention, New Smyrna Beach.
There you go.
Sorry.
And in the spirit of things, you can get there a little early, or you can stay longer and go hang out at Disneyland and many other locations all over Southern California.
Knott's Berry, the Nixon Library. You could go down. You can go to San Clemente and go to the library. I've done that. That's great. See the original home of Nixon, which is right there on the site. There's so much to do there. I mean, for people like us, people of a certain age who are historically minded, there's a lot of fun things to do right there. We're going to have a great dinner. We're going to have a cash bar. We're gonna have it's a great space. It's a great hotel. It's super fancy, and you get 20% off with a secret code that Eric's going to give you at some point. If you want to get
on the, as I was going to say, when you go to the event page, it will literally have the hotel information.
Oh, good. That's
in addition to how to get the 20% off when you're booking, there's directions.
The rooms are crazy. The rooms are crazy. Almost as crazy. Remember that Dallas hotel we stayed in? That Art Deco
that was awesome.
hotel.
I love that
was
place.
Great, dude. That was really crazy. This is much more modern and bigger rooms and more facilities. This is like the flagship Marriott, I think.
Yeah, I mean it is a very nice one. They even have somebody who did a full blown review over this.
Oh wow!
And broke it down with a slice restaurant.
There's so many things going on in this hotel.
Yeah, it's a very
it's the real
prominent
deal.
hotel in the area.
You got to keep in mind there's the Pfizer World Cup coming to town, and it's summer, and the kids are out of school, and there's a lot of stuff. So you better get a room if you want to get a room there. You may want to jump on it and get a room there. If not, there's plenty of hotels around there. So don't.
And nice looking rooms. I mean, they're
crazy. They're crazy. They got a whole grocery store in there and Starbucks.
Yeah.
Look at this place. They got clothing stores in there.
It's like they took the airport.
Yeah, it looks like an airport in there.
It really does.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I know where I'll be getting my T-shirt when I'm.
You can get everything in there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They have fashion shows. There's a shuttle that takes you across the street to Disney World. There's a lot of stuff going on. We've got a gourmet meal made for us by the hotel chef who I've spoken to, and there's all kinds of meat and salmon and everything as part of the dinner. I think
I'll have to put that up on the site so people can.
You can put the menu up if you want to.
Well, I will. I have to go look
and
see if I can find it and put it up on the site so people can look ahead of time. And
you're not getting free drugs and you're not getting free alcohol. This is not that type of show. Although we have had that in the past.
Of course, but it is a recreational state for
anything goes
people. So I'm sure that somewhere you could hitch a ride and imbibe and whatever the hell you want. So
I went to the dentist last week, and next door to the dentist in Toluca Lake was a cannabis store, and the smell coming out of that place wafted into the dentist office while I was in that different business. That smoke travels really far when it's consolidated in one building, because everybody's lighting up to try the different samples.
Well, go to Las Vegas, dude. I mean, it reeks. But what somebody commented on Tuesday saying that modern cannabis smells worse, and I think it smells just as bad as it did when I was growing up. And they called it skunk weed for a reason.
It's a lot skunkier now, and depending on the brand or the name,
is
it's different smells. Yeah.
All right. Well, it just is like I remember it stank back in the day, and
the skunk industry ought to protest because everybody's going, is that a skunk or is that weed? Because we have skunks here. Real skunks. And now we don't know if it's a guy just walking by smoking weed or a skunk burrowing underneath your house.
And the poor skunks, they feel aggrieved.
The skunk industry is really being aggrieved.
As they should. They have one defense, and we're taking that away from them.
Well, it's confusing because they're not getting the respect that they used to have because of that smell, because everybody thinks it's just a guy with weed now. So their smell, that superpower that only they have, has been diminished by tens of thousands of weed smokers.
Of course, somebody could make a mistake and say, oh, I'm fine. It's just weed. And it's like, oh, no.
No.
It's going to stay with you.
No. People have done that here. Yeah.
Oh, my. Yeah. All right. Judy Pratt says, so true, Mark. Any relation to Spencer? Your cousin's running. You better help him out.
Or my mother, Judy. Or the Pratt Institute in Brooklyn.
Okay. You know what, Judy, since you've asked multiple times, I don't know if Mark has followed it. The Met Gala
was last night.
Yeah. Did you follow any of that or whatever?
Course. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us all about it.
There's nothing all about it. I didn't follow it that closely. Just looked at the costumes. The best was Bad Bunny, who, by the way, for reasons I have no idea, aged himself with gray hair and a gray beard and had a cane. I don't know about that. And then there was The Rock, who wore a dress. Don't know why he was wearing a dress. And then there was
Heidi Klum always does something weird.
One of the crazier ones had on an astronaut visor or robot helmets. Visors were very big this year. Visors, eye masks, and helmets seem to be the thing.
The dollar mask.
Yeah.
One of them was doing, the height of irony, wearing a dollar blindfold to talk about, the rich. Meanwhile, in a incredibly rich person's event.
Yeah.
I forgot who that was. Oh God. Anyway, whatever. I saw clips and things like that.
Yeah, I saw some clips.
And
That's all I saw.
I definitely did not watch it.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much par for the course. But you know what is great? Our super chats and our support here, which I always appreciate. Dr. Evil 814, Mark has been drinking his AUS coffee today. I think he has.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. And that's why he was on fire. And Dr. Evil saying that Tucker Carlson couldn't pass the drug test.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I think I'm just going to stick my neck out. Somebody asked me about it. There's a combination of nicotine pouches, alcohol, and Adderall. I'm going to go with that.
Well, he owns a nicotine company, or he's invested in that.
So I think it's all three into some sort of combination.
Okay. And lunacy. Dangerous curves ahead. Will Republicans ever learn? Very funny. Probably
I
not.
don't know. They have a slow learning curve or a major I don't give a shit curve, or maybe both.
Yeah, it's a country club Republicans essentially.
Yeah,
that are the big issue on that. King of Biltong on Rumble said, "Turn up the flavor with Peri Peri Biltong, mild heat, big flavor, over 50% protein to keep you going. Try the full Peri Peri range at BiltongUSA.com. Code AUS for 10% off." And you know what? That's something I've been seeing lately. This is real protein. I mean, if it's meat, it's high protein and real protein.
Yeah.
And I want to put it, there's a scam going on. And
what?
Has everybody noticed it that everywhere you look, now Mark doesn't go to the grocery store, so we'll have to bear with him. You see high protein on every box. So
fiber too, Eric. Fiber.
Fiber's pretty big, but protein is the new hot, sexy thing on products. And what they do is they say protein, and they'll put up like 4 grams or 5 grams. So you'll have a box that says protein to the right.
Might be true.
For 5 grams. Well, but then the normal box is to the left, and it's 3 grams. And so it's like almost no difference. The price is jacked up on the protein version, but it's not even really high protein. They just put the word protein on it. So that is the latest scam. Remember, low fat was everywhere for a while. I think low fat has gone by the wayside.
Yeah, I get low fat cottage cheese still. I figure what the fuck, a little bit less. Tastes the same. But some low fat things do not taste the same. That's for sure.
No, and
try low fat, low calorie mayonnaise. Good luck.
And you got to pay attention too, because low fat usually means amped up sugar, because that's how they compensate. It's like, oh, look, low fat, double the sugar. So that's not necessarily.
You get diet tips here from Hunley people. It's not just news. You get actual health information here.
There you go, and for free. I don't even have a super chat, putting it on. But either way, it is a scam, and it is very interesting. 3/22/67 was watching Adam Carolla's Palisades Malibu building progress vlog. Drone coverage shows one lonely house going up. Homeless shanties dumping septic tanks and storm drains, and all the reservoirs are empty.
Yeah, it's been the same house.
8 months ago.
It's been the same house. I haven't seen his new one, but apparently the results are the same. The building permits are, some of them are $10,000-$15,000 just to get the permits. They try to hire regular Mexicans to build their homes, and they found the needed police muscle to arrest the Mexicans. Their crime was actually building a home for somebody for money. I don't know how that's adjudicated in the LA courts, but they were charged with building without a permit. I mean, it's a shakedown operation. Now the Fed is moving in on the insurance companies. The front page of the paper today, the Fed's moving in to indict Allstate and some of the executives for gouging and not providing the money and dragging it out for 2 years in terms of payments. So this story is not over, and Trump is taking over the permit dispersals. This thing is not done yet.
Well, I just look forward to seeing the Olympic situation. Dangerous curve ahead with a Canadian $4 super sticker. Thank you very much. James Bundy with $10. Thank you. No question, but thank you very much. K-Dog 4703. Buenos dias. Every generation in America had to make sacrifices to live. The recent generations have had it so easy, they did not know how tough it could be. It's not their fault, but what's the answer?
I don't know, but I mean, all of a sudden, the end of the world is not $1.25 increase in your temporary fuel prices. I mean, you can't run a foreign policy like that. If we ran out of Rice Krispies against the Soviet Union, would we have given up? If we ran out of Spam and metal parts during the war against Japan and the Germans, would we have surrendered? I mean, housewives went around collecting pots and pans so they could turn it over to the government to make metal bullets and things. I didn't hear people crying that they were giving up their pots and pans during World War II.
I guarantee they'd cry now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any deviation of their lifestyle, whatever activity caused it, has to end immediately.
All right. And last but not least, we have Pamela with $1. Thank you very much, Pamela. And she's a great support who has been following us for a while, a long while. All right. So now we are going to shift over to locals. And on locals, aka unstructured.locals.com, there's a whole lot more material that's there, like a 5-part.
Yeah, this is the pre-show to that, right? We just do this to lead into the main show.
Yeah.
This show, this is the preview show of what goes on in locals that you don't know anything about because you're not over there. You think this is the show. It's not. This is the intro to the actual show, which is on locals coming up.
There you go. With a lot of other content. But you know what? You can always find out.
By the way, you have to show Viva how to get onto Rumble because he apparently does not know how to run his own company. He is having the most difficult time, Eric, trying to get YouTube and Rumble for the movie channel we're doing. And I said, aren't you the attorney for the company? He says, yeah. And he's not a boomer. I mean, he doesn't have I said, I don't even know. I said, don't even ask me, bro. I'm not involved. I said, call up Hunley. He knows how to do it every week. I mean, we don't have a Rumble rant today, but we've had, followers and rants on Rumble for years.
Yeah. Oh no, we do. Bill Talk send us a Rumble rant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. Well, I haven't heard from him, so we'll see. His other show's on there, so I don't know.
Go figure. Go figure.
All right. Well, we will head over to locals right now, and those people who are watching us right now on Rumble.
I just want to say goodbye to these people. But remember, tomorrow, Joan Rivers. If you thought the Seinfeld episode was crazy, that was for Boy Scouts. This one's crazier. Thank you.
See you then.